Richard Narayan, or Ricky for short. Great to be here on the radio. It's been a long time since I've been on the radio, so it's one of those things. I've been told I have a face for radio, so if you can see the camera, you can probably message us and let us know what you think. Otherwise, yeah, I'm Richard. I work for a couple of community organisations. I have a strong vested interest in homelessness. As part of my day job, I work with businesses to lower their cost of energy, so gas, electric, water, and broadband. But my strong passions are invested in the homeless sector. So whatever we can do to help humanity, by all means, get in touch and we'll see what we can do to partner up and help the world.
Of course, today I want to introduce Richard to the 3Ds. I'm going to ask him if he knows about the 3Ds. And I know he's going to say, no, I don't. Please tell me. Richard, do you know about the 3Ds?
I do not know about 3Ds, not yet anyway.
Yeah, so one of the youngsters, he told me, young people, they're not really interested in the 3Ds. They're into other things. Now, the 3Ds is discipline, the first D. What's the second one? Devotion. And the third one is detoxification. So what do we do in the month of Ramadan? All three. Especially, all three work together. But the detoxification is really good. Physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. You got it. We're going to have some good fun today, you and I. And one of the guests came yesterday and he said the third of your body is for your spirituality. That's your reserve energy.
I fully agree. I think there's a compound effect. The 3Ds, what you're saying, especially the discipline. Once you get the discipline right, you are an unbreakable character because I think discipline trumps motivation. You won't always be motivated to do certain things, but that's when discipline kicks in, of whether you can make sure you either wake up, eat right, sleep right, work out, and maintain a certain regime routine.
Richard, you have just passed the part 1 of the Radio Ramadan interview process.
Really good to know.
I'm happy to tell you that, right? So this is what it's all about, and these are 3Ds, so please make a note of them. The first D is discipline, the second one is devotion, and the third one is detoxification. And each guest that you have, they add more value to our thought process, our mindsets. And Alex Smith came last week and he told us about reason and meaning. And he added that to it. And it was wonderful talking to Alex Smith. And we're going forward now. Richard, if you can tell us exactly how you are involved with community engagement.
So recently I've been working and partnering with the Rotary Group of Leicester, who are a like-minded group of individuals who have day jobs, yet they also devote their time and energy to charitable activities, whether it's the local food banks, whether it's the homeless organizations, but they collectively come together. And Rotary is a significantly larger organization than initially envisaged. I thought it was just a local group of people who came together. But there are Rotary groups all over the world, ranging from within the UK, within Africa, within the US. And they started from humble beginnings of a few business people who decided they wanted to meet up on a regular basis and do some charitable community work together. The notion of it started is they rotated their offices, so each office was different. But then other people got involved and more individuals and organizations collectively on a global scale got involved. And now Rotary Group is it's a global force for good. And I joined Rotary just because of the fact that I believe in the power of collectively working towards a greater common goal.
Right, Richard, I've just been told by our automatic producer, communicates with the sign language, that you need to speak louder.
Okay.
So I've just had a listener tell me, you're not on yet, it's still on songs. So the communications are happening here with various different norms. We have sign language, we have the mobile phone WhatsApp, and we have the text messages. And you have to be totally alert because I'm facing all these things right now. Here to my left is a screen. In front of me is a producer who communicates with the sign language amongst other ways. So it's all the process of digitization, Richard. And that's what's happening here. So if you're listening to us right now, a big hug for you, Ramadan Radio 87.7 FM. And you can call us in on 0116-482-2086. But be sure you're wide awake. Because if you're half asleep, I'll be able to tell. And we want to have a good convo. And 077-488-55055 is our WhatsApp or text message. Now, Richard, I want to introduce you now to the Leicester Children's Hospital that we have been working in partnership with. And a couple of years, in 2020, we've successfully raised 275,000 collectively from the radio as well as our charity partners and our community engagement process. And that was a record. Never has that been done before, where a local institution, a hospital is an institution, we managed to do that. So the reason I'm telling you this is to show you the value of community partnerships with everybody, right?
Better work is done when people come together.
So the Children's Hospital are raising money to buy Eid gifts for the children who will be spending Eid day in the hospital, and we think that it's a great idea if you all would join in. And if any one of you would like to donate, you have to go on the justgiving.com/fundraising/Ramadan Radio, and we can raise some funds for that. So £5, £3, anything will do. It all adds up. And then we can forward that to the Children's Hospital. Leicester Children's Hospital, that's a brand new facility which is likened to the facilities that you have at Great Ormond Street in London. And previously, in Leicester, you'd have to go to Nottingham or Birmingham for treatment. Now, Leicester can proudly say that we are here. We have the facilities and people don't have to go so far. So I think if any of you listening in right now, this is one project that we're engaging with continuously, and we need to collect more partners to work with together as a community, collectively. So all of you listening in right now, you are listening to Z on the Rise and Shine morning program, Saturday morning today. And the days we are counting, I think it's day 14 of Ramadan today. And time's just flying by, Richard. Yeah. So have you ever had a go at fasting?
I have. So I tend to do my research in all areas before I engage in any activities, including fasting. And I've read, so I have information I've stored for later for intermittent fasting and the health benefits of doing so. I'm a massive foodie, so I don't, unfortunately, have the level of discipline it takes to make it throughout the entire day. Closest I think I got last time was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon or so, but I have a very strong, heavy diet, and I've not managed the full day, but I have tried. So to the individuals who do make it for the entire fast, for the entire 30 days, I have a massive respect.
Maybe you can join us for one of the iftars that we do here
100%.
with some of your colleagues. Every night we do an iftar here. We invite people from across the communities. We come, we talk, we eat, and we discuss. And it's a process of integration.
Yes.
And coexistence we have, but integration is a question mark.
I would appreciate that. Genuinely, I'm big on meeting new people, learning more about different cultures, as well as food is a massive thing for me. So if there's food available,
So I would welcome you here for that, and you would obviously be representing the wider community as well as the Rotary. And the Rotary is a global institution, isn't it? There's Rotaries everywhere in every country you go to. I was driving along a road in a city called Jinja in Uganda, and there was a sign there saying Rotary Club Jinja. So straight away I remembered my friends, Mark and Diana, because I knew they were involved with the Rotary, and I was excited. You see how that connection...
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's amazing to have a global network of individuals where you can facilitate and help out, or at least if you, because they're like-minded individuals, you feel as though you're already part of a community that you haven't technically met. So it's the comfort of having somebody there in an unknown place where you can say, I have time, is there anything I can do while I'm here, or how can we do something together?
So you can imagine, Rotary reminded me of my friends.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I think it's more about friends and family within the actual community, isn't it?
That's right. So what can we do now in the city of Leicester to build up on these partnerships that we and the radio have been talking about across the community in the city? And how can Rotary join and help us develop these partnerships between the Rotary and the community, the commercial sectors, and the local government sectors?
So individuals who are directly interested in Rotary, and especially from the Leicester area, can look up Rotary Leicester. It takes a short web search, not to promote any particular search engine, but I think now the verb to search was now Google it. So you can Google Rotary Leicester. There's a lot of information online about the Leicester groups, when they meet and how they integrate. If you're generally interested in joining the Rotary or finding more about them, you can contact Diana from the webpage. There's various links, but also information online about how the Rotary organisation worldwide functions, what the ethos is. They were one of the first groups that got involved in polio vaccine to immunize the world. Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation supports the Rotary Community Group in terms of every pound that they raise towards polio vaccinations. The Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation matches. So it means that they are able to vaccinate the world and try. One of the main things I look at doing at the moment is eradicating polio. But also on a smaller level, each individual community of Rotary has their own ethos of whether they have a specific organisation they're supporting or a specific cause. In Leicester at the moment, it's big on food, homelessness and food banks, and ensuring that members of the community who do need a bit of extra support are looked after. Recently they had a tea party, about 80 people went to the tea party and it was hosted at the Leicester Tigers ground. A total of £2,600 was raised, 80 people attended. It was at the County Cricket Club. It was a great afternoon out. It was great to meet other like-minded organisations and individuals who have they have a vested interest in helping, but it's a non-selfish help.
So great. The value of partnership is next to none then, isn't it?
Yeah.
That if we can expand on that, because Rotary is local, it's national, and it's global.
Exactly.
And the impact of it can bounce to each one of these sectors. From if we have success locally, we can pass that on nationally, and then we can do a little bit of collaboration globally, can't we?
Exactly. I find Rotary, for me, I have a strong affinity with Rotary Group because of the fact that everybody who wants to help in some capacity can contact Rotary and say, this is what we have in terms of time to spare, or we have possible resources where we want to utilise them to help the community. How can we potentially do that? And Rotary is in a good position to do that because they have a vested interest in community sector organisations.
That is absolutely wonderful. As part of our Once Upon a Time 50 years ago initiative that we have created throughout the country here to highlight the plight of the Ugandan Asians, to celebrate their successes in England when we came here in 1972, and also to commemorate the 400 to 500,000 Africans, Ugandans that lost their lives during that transition period over 10 years due to the regime changes and various dictatorial issues and basically torture chambers and everything like that, right? So very, very harsh times. A lot of lives lost in that turmoil. And these are things which are historical, which we need to teach our children about so they can learn what not to do. And if we don't learn from our history, we're not going to create a better tomorrow.
I can't remember who said it just off the top of my head, but they say if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Of course.
I think it's good because of the fact that if you don't learn from your past mistakes, you don't learn from the mistakes of your ancestors, we can't grow as individuals.
Yeah.
We can't excel, so we should always take every opportunity to learn and grow and evolve. I think the whole ideology, the 3Ds I think is great as well because of the fact that once you see either a failure or fault in either the world, society or yourself, you should take the time out to reflect and then you should detoxify because of the fact that it's sometimes habits which are the intoxicant because you've been ingrained yourself into certain ways of doing things where you could be better. You could discipline yourself better. And all of these things that you're saying, I think, have a compound effect.
Definitely. So I think this is, without saying that the value of partnerships, we need to link up more with each other. Of course, while I was away in Uganda, I was on the WhatsApp and emails exchanging with your colleagues at the Rotary Club. And there was that passion there for doing something together.
You said there were pictures as well. Are we putting any pictures on Ramadan FM on the website or anything for viewers to see?
No, I think it's a good idea. You know, that's what we have to do is put the pictures on. We've created some short videos,
yes.
And our mission is to create 50 projects there in water wells, primary schools development. And in primary schools, the first thing we are aiming to do is create the best sanitation and then food. So they have good food and good facilities, organic garden, so they can grow carrots and eat well. And, you know, the whole theme in schools is hygiene, is health, health is wealth. And then comes the teaching, right? And that is the kind of development we're doing, infrastructure development, so that these kids, why should they have facilities which are zero to what we have here, which are 100%?
Oh, yeah.
You with me? So the disparity, if we don't fix the disparity problem, we're never going to ever cure poverty.
Yes.
in the world. And we are looking for prevention. And that prevention, we got to start with the 7, 8-year-olds, right? So my own experience, I've been working with the young entrepreneurs, but now I'm even going further back to go and start at the beginning.
Yeah, because you've got to start at grassroots level to be able to build up that ideology from the beginning. Things are teachable earlier when you're a youngster and a child, and after you, as you grow, you develop more bad habits. Start the good habits early, and then those will stay with you throughout life. And I think what you were saying as well about the garden, the carrots. I'm a massive advocate of growing your own fruit and veg.
Exactly.
Everybody concretes their garden over, and I find that personally upsetting because I think in Leicester and other parts of the UK and certain parts of Western Rock, we kind of live in a concrete jungle. We can pave over their garden. We don't appreciate Mother Nature and the earth. So what they're doing about growing their own carrots and their own fruit and veg. And
well, the instigator for that was Alex Smith.
All right.
And he's a prospective councillor for the Green Party in Camden.
Yes.
And Alex is a self-made man. And he said to us, we explained to him, we discussed last week the A to Z of taxes.
Okay.
Right? A for alcohol tax, C for cigarette tax, right? P for petrol tax. And we're talking about that. And a listener sent a message and he said, the best tax is the Z tax. I thought, oh, here we go, he's taking the mick out of my name. And he said, no, the Z tax, he's talking about the zakat tax.
Okay.
The zakat tax in Islam is 2.5% of your earnings.
Yeah.
You give that towards alleviating poverty, right?
Yeah.
So Alex liked that very much. Now Alex said, one of my projects I'm doing, 2.5% of the profit from that project I'm happy to put forward to an organic garden.
Yeah.
He said, I've read up on the internet that Uganda has got fertile soil,
Yes.
and at the school, I've Googled the school and have a look at it, and there's space there for them to grow vegetables. That's fantastic, isn't it?
That literally came from a short conversation where it snowballed into what a potential project could be.
Now, this is how we inspire each other, we connect with each other, and we share. We share values, we share ideas. And that's what we are here to do today, Richard. I hope that you and I can build that positive energy.
Oh, to be fair, honestly, you're oozing positive energy. And not only that, I've gained so much value just from hearing you at the moment as well. Like 3Ds, I think, are massively impactful, but also learning more about your personal ethos and things you're doing and projects you're engaging in. I think you're an ideal individual who's best placed for integrating and bringing together community organizations as well.
Well, that is my passion. I've always been doing that, and I want to now step it up a gear and make things happen.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we have to do collectively, and we can't do it alone. It's not a journey for one person.
Okay.
It's a journey for all of us together to actually, you see many pictures on the internet where people are stood together of all different diversities.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the D also stands for diversity, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you and I today make a pact that we're going to actually put the D back into the word diversity.
Exactly.
Right? At the moment, the D is missing.
Yeah. We tend to be both integrated and segregated. And it's how we come together collectively to want to understand each other's cultures. So I have friends of mine who will ask me questions about the way we eat, about the way we do certain things. Because culturally we're different. But the more we learn about one another, the more that we can better integrate. Because we are a diverse mix of individuals. I think Leicester, they said, I read in the Mercury, I think it was last year or the year before, Narborough Road is the most diverse road in the whole of the UK. Because there's, I think, over 60 different cultures of shops and organizations ranging from Polish, Eastern European, Asian, Eastern culture, South Asian, Chinese, and a whole host of myriad of cultures all on one street. And I think in the entire UK, it's something to be proud of that we have the most multicultural street in the UK within Leicester, in the area within which we live.
I see. Now that brings me back to the question that we ask every guest here in the city is how many diversities are there in this city?
I wouldn't know. I'd say, based on, I know it's roughly borderline 60-ish on the Narborough Road area. I know over 60. For how many diverse cultures and faiths?
Right, this one, let's get all of the people listening in right now involved, and let's get them to text in right now or WhatsApp on 077 48 855 055. Without going to Google, put a guess on what is the population of the city and how many diversities do we have in the city, right? Or you can call us in on 0116 482 2086.
I
Now,
want to see what the listeners think as well, because it'd be quite interesting
yeah,
to see the mix of answers.
of course. Now, call in right now, wake up, dress up, show up on time. That's what we say here on the radio, and call in right now. Then we can have a little banter with them. So, of course, it's all about data, isn't it, Richard? Data.
Richness of data.
Now, your work that you do is all about data, isn't it?
So I'm a very data-centric and information-based individual. And I think it's interesting to know how, when you look at 10 bits of information, there's commonalities between them. And it's how you can either overcome obstacles or use that data to best your advantage.
So, right now, we only have 23 minutes left. We're not doing a radio presenting program right now. We are starting to work now.
Oh yeah, to be fair, I think...
We're working right now. So what we do is we collect all this data.
Yeah.
The census is going to give us all that data very soon.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you now, my friends are telling me, people on the streets there are telling me that they're all waiting for the census. So the census may switch us over. The big M will switch. You understand the big M? The big M is the ethnic minority. Now that M might switch from minority to majority in the city. So that is interesting, isn't it?
That's fascinating. I know that it's been a very, it's been an even split for the last few years, where it's been in certain areas, because I was looking at, so I'm looking at moving in the next few weeks or so. So I was looking at Trussington, and Trussington has a 98% majority, but then other areas you look at have a different kind of majority. So it's fascinating to see how the data pans out. But also the census used to be every 10 years.
Yeah.
Now data and information is so easily accessible, and we can manipulate and get information from that data. And that census annually or biannually.
Yeah, so Arif Jetsi, who looks after Leicester Homeless, he's joining our group.
Nice.
And yeah, and we're working with him closely for many years now, and we've seen him from 2014 to 2022, how his organization from his own personal efforts has grown to where it is today. And he has much data, much knowledge, and he has all the facts and figures on the homeless. And we also have One Roof, and we have
someone from One Roof.
yeah. So we have various people from the sector of homeless that we are working with, and Action Homeless as well, who provide accommodation for homeless. But we will be discussing prevention rather than cure.
Oh yeah.
And that's where we want to be heading. But that is just one subject amongst many for our community partnerships. If everybody became a CDO, that would make a difference, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So how about I appoint you to be the first CDO appointed from Radio Ramadan? You know what a CDO is?
Community Development Officer.
You put it there. You have just the first section of part 2 of the application for Radio Ramadan, you're passing that one, right? So that is very good. And I think everyone needs to become aware, and we then start building. We're doing a lot of this awareness and a lot of this integration through sports.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, through the sport of cricket, through the sport of rugby, and through the sport of football, because youngsters, you can catch them early while they're doing their sports.
Find out what their best interests are and engage in the right way. I haven't played cricket in so long. Like, I watch cricket, but yeah, I think it'd be great to play cricket as well.
Well, we've been working with cricket for the last couple of years, and we found that our youngsters have switched over to football.
Yeah.
And they're more active with football, and that's what we have found. Purely because there has been many reasons, but sports is a good idea. All starts with data and so on. So the divide between one area and another area. So we would like to reach out to the areas that don't engage with where we are, for example, to bring them over here and for us to go over there. And that is how we are going to break down these barriers and not live in separatism.
It's also because in Leicester we have One Roof, we have Help the Homeless, we have Action Homeless, but then other cities have other organisations. What you were saying about preventative measures, and what I'm interested in from a data point of view is how what work we do in Leicester differs from the work that is done in Nottingham, which differs to the work that's done in Birmingham and Manchester and so forth. And if you have collective problems and you have a correlation between different problems that occur in different cities, how can you prevent those from occurring in the future? So if let's say, for example, hypothetically speaking, a relationship breakdown leads to a common cause of homelessness, how can you nip that in the bud early and offer support where you know that there's breakdown in a relationship and this may be potential cause, so where there is potential need for either assistance, benefits, direct support with obtaining housing. All of these avenues could potentially lead to homelessness. There could be substance-related issues, there could be mental health issues. But once you're aware of these through either the right engagements, let's say if somebody has issues with substance abuse or mental health issues, and the NHS is aware of it, what preventative measures are taken early on as a preventive measure towards maybe possible homelessness? Because there's no guarantee that everybody with mental health issues is going to be homeless, or everybody who suffers in a relationship or alcoholism or any form of substance abuse is definitely going to be homeless. Because we know wholeheartedly that there are individuals who are recreational drug users who aren't homeless, in the same capacity that people who do go through relationship breaks down that don't end up homeless. But how do we use this data in the future to facilitate those who may possibly be victims of homelessness?
Well, this data is available, and I'm sure when we pick up a convo collectively with Arif over a cup of coffee, he can share that with us. And he was very interesting. He told me many things. He says many homeless, they're not homeless, they live up the road and they're users, they're addiction issues they have, and then they are begging on the streets.
So not all people you see on the street who are begging are homeless, and not all people who are homeless are begging. So there's a divide between what people perceive as the homeless.
But the only cure is prevention for everywhere. If we can prevent, we can cure, right? And here, every day we have different guests and we learn from them. And there is, in the KIP, are you familiar with the KIP? Knowledge, come on, it's there, it's on the tip of your tongues.
Knowledge transfer network or
you're very close, right? KIP is knowledge is power.
Okay, oh yeah, knowledge, yeah.
Right, which leads me to say, knowledge is power equals education, education equals wisdom. So these three all work together. So if we can impart our knowledge that we have in our respective profession or our business, we can then go on to do the work that we are proposing to do. Yes? And otherwise, we are not going to be able to effect change.
So I'm a strong advocate of so I use the word disease quite fluidly because of the fact that I think anything that is a negative ailment could be in some capacity seen as a disease. Let's say, for example, homelessness is to some degree a societal, I wouldn't use the word disease, but there are preventative measures and cures. So as with anything where there's an illness, if you can prevent it from ever happening, it's brilliant. But if it does take place, how can you cure it? Those are the most important things. And I think a good education, a good understanding, the main foundations for it. Same with any health-related illness. If you take care of your mind and body, you will hopefully not suffer any illness. And if you do suffer an illness, how can you take care of it or remedy it thereafter? I think there are a number of things in society, and homelessness is one of them, where if you can prevent it from ever happening, you don't need to cure it thereafter because of the fact that you prevent it from happening in the first place. Same with, let's say, for example, if you can prevent cancers or any other physical ailments, good mental health, good physical health, eating the right food, because your body is fundamentally what you absorb into your body in knowledge and in sustenance is how your body is going to react to it. If you put crap into your body is going to react negatively. If you put drugs and alcohol into your body in excess, it's going to react adversely to it. It's going to have an impact on your mental health.
Basically, what you're saying is what you eat is what you are, right?
Basically,
And this
what
is
you eat and what you think is what you become.
exactly. And this is what we were talking about earlier on, that if we can prevent, we don't need to go down the road of cure. Of course, in the cure industry, there's a whole stream of people who are earning their living out of cure, isn't there? So will we not be putting them out of a job?
Well, I think what we could do is we could put all the people who are in the cure business into the preventive business. There's still going to be a cycle of a requirement, but I think...
Richard, have you ever thought of joining local government or national government, becoming an MP?
I think the idea always seems fun to anybody, to make a positive change and to advocate.
I think you're the right man for this kind of work.
Maybe one day. I would consider it just because I am interested in helping people making change. That's one of my main ethos in life. If you can help people, great. But if you can apply yourself in some way where you can add value to somebody else's life, brilliant. Because
I think you're a great asset of the Rotary, right? So I think you can be a fantastic driver. You can drive a car, you can drive a lorry. And
it's the thing. I think human beings are selfish without realizing it. How often do you do something nice for somebody and feel good at the end of it? You know, like anytime you do something nice for somebody, you feel good on the inside. But doesn't that make you selfish that you may potentially have done something nice to feel nice? You may not have done it to feel nice, but doing something nice for others makes you feel nice on the inside.
Of course, all of you listening in, every day we remind each other, is the quote by Muhammad Ali on his gravestone. It says, the service we do to others to make a difference to them is the rent we pay for our room in heaven. Now that is, it rings in my head all the time, and it's a reminder to me, right? So a lot of these goodness quotes are a fantastic reminder. They come up on your WhatsApp and you read them, and it starts your day off nice, right? So all of you listening in, right, if you have any good quotes, you send them over here to us on the WhatsApp, and we'll always be taking inspiration from them. Each one of us out there listening in right now need that feel-good factor, don't we?
Exactly. And not only that, if you share any positive quotes with us, Radio Ramadan FM, we will share it with other listeners, because of the fact that positive news and positive information should be shared. If you enrich our lives, we can enrich your lives. It's a cycle of giving. If you do, I think one of my favorite films of all time is always, why is the name eluding me right now? Pay It Forward. So if you help one person, then they can help one person. But it's the rule of three. Help three people, and just tell those three people to help three people. You don't want anything in return, but if three people can continuously help three people, that cycle of help will continue, and it has an impact of global reach. I thought it's a fascinating concept for a movie.
Of course, it is. Sure is. Yesterday we had a guest, and or the day before, I can't quite recall, and he really opened up your eyes a little, and he said, "Have you heard of the dead cat on the table?" I don't know where he was going with that, right? I started worrying about my son's cat there and then, and he said what they do all the time in the political world is there's an issue going on, a very serious one, and somebody puts a dead cat on the table, and all the attention is diverted to the cat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, and I said, oh, okay. So that was an eye-opener, and of course he was talking about this Rwanda refugee deal, and now country next door to Rwanda, which is Uganda, and I'm like thinking, why would anybody in their right minds want to send refugees over there to that country which had genocide problems, now got dictatorial problems, now are killing all their dissidents all over the world, and you're sending refugees over there paying 120 million. All they had to do is pick the phone up and ring Zed. I could give them direction, right? We are from that region and we know the dynamics over there, right? And no, a Lord goes there, does a deal, and then the government gets involved and they ratify it, and 120 million, I don't know what's going on, Richard. Now, I'm not into politics, I'm into humanity, right? So we say humanity, solidarity equals unity. And that's all we focus on. So if we're going to send, and the guest was saying that, if we're going to send the refugees over there, why don't we start with the Ukrainian refugees and send them over there? And I don't have the answer to that. So sometimes I'm here, doing my best, working hard, waking up, half asleep, and people ask me the most difficult questions.
Yeah.
Right?
I think when you say about politics as well, because sometimes I feel like when you read a news article, we can only either be know-it-alls, or at the same time we think, how could we have added value to this? Because I know at the moment there is, you can take in refugees and you can offer them a home. But I think displacing people in the first place, the war we have going on in terms of civil unrest, is having a poor impact on the world. And so I have an out there question and a concept of, if you were an alien race and you were looking on us as a species from another planet, because at the moment we're looking at potentially colonizing Mars and other planets, what would you say about us as a species? Would you say we are a harmonious species, or would you say that we are fighting amongst ourselves? If in any capacity, should we be better, or are we good as we are? There's a question I always pose to people of, who, from the outside looking in, what would you say humans, like, what is our core strength?
Well, I'm going to answer that one for you. Easy, right? Here at the radio, we say yesterday was pretty bad. Today is good. Tomorrow needs to be even better. So we can only do that if we engage and make things better, create the right foundations for our youngsters so that they can be doing a better society tomorrow, a better community tomorrow.
I think that's perfect, because what the work you're doing, even with the Rotary in Ginger, is amazing.
No, I'm doing no work with them. I was waiting to come back to England, engage with the Rotary here in Leicester, and then get the Rotary in Leicester here to engage with the Rotary in Ginger, and then through that channel, we can want to do something in the name of your mother, your father, your brother, then contact us here at the Radio Ramadan on 87.7 FM, or you can call us on 0116 482 2086. And you can WhatsApp us on 077 48 So time is flying. We've got 8 minutes, Richard. Now I need you to, as they say, step on the gas and tell us that how the Rotary and the rest of the community can engage. And,
so I'd say first and foremost, if you contact the Rotary Group in Leicester, so if you're from a Leicester-based organisation, but I appreciate that Ramadan FM is being broadcast digitally, so you could be anywhere in the world. So contact your local Rotary, look up the area within which you're based, because as we've discussed, Rotary's in Ginger, Rotary's in the US, it's in parts of Europe, it's in different parts of the UK, so wherever it is locally, if you're interested in such an organisation, do a quick online search, type in your local area, or find your nearest Rotary Group and find out a bit more about them. Most of the information is online, and it's like-minded individuals collectively getting involved to help other community-based organisations, or an interest that you might have where where Rotary can help. So if you are engaged with community work with either homelessness or whether food poverty or whether it's mental health, charities or anything, and you want some support and help, or you just want to bounce ideas off other people who want to support and donate their time. It's not always about money at the end of the day. Sometimes you can bounce an idea off somebody, or you can get feedback or just validation for something.
So one of the ideas we're working on, as I told you, Richard, you and I are now working now. We're not doing radio. We're actually working. Somebody better start paying us for this work we're doing, right? So we're saying 4 corners of the city. We go put some infrastructure up there. And then all these partners, organizations like Rotary, will go to each one of these corners and do a little tea party, tea biscuits, and we can get sponsorship for that and engage with all throughout the city. So imagine 20 organizations going to 4 corners of the city, and everybody from that vicinity, from that area, is engaging.
I think that would be brilliant.
Right?
But also, what you were saying earlier as well.
It'll be even brilliant, Richard, if you come on board and help us with this.
100% be on
Right?
board.
So when you go back to your next Rotary meeting, Richard, I want you to go there, stand up tall, and speak to them all and convince them. Right? Make a plan. And we say on the radio here, if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. But don't do that, Richard.
No.
You don't fail to plan. You make sure you get the job done, right?
Also, I hope you don't mind me saying, just the conversation we were having all of literally about 50 or so minutes ago, where we're currently based in terms of the studio, Zed's looking at opening the space as a creative space, there's a co-working for members of the local community in the future. I think initiatives like that are great because it gets more people from the community engaging in a collective, collaborative capacity. Same with how the Rotary is doing. The more engagement you have with members of the local community, the more your ideas can bounce off each other, the more you can collectively help and work together.
Of course, Richard, one of the problems we're going to share with you, the hardest problem we have is finding those youngsters. They're hiding.
Oh, yeah.
We need to flush them out, bring them to the table, and signpost them and to the right places. Now, digital is something we are pursuing very, very aggressively, and we can then put them in that direction because the future is going to be totally digital.
So I remember you saying Ramadan FM is only over the period of Ramadan, but also
Yeah.
I think from an
30
engagement
days.
point of view, because it's something that will take place on a biannual basis. But there'll be a Facebook page, there's
Yeah.
Twitter, there's LinkedIn,
Of course.
there's YouTube.
Yeah,
So
and there will be some podcasts. So we need to help develop these youngsters. Some of them are very articulate, very creative, very innovative. We need to help them maybe set up a podcast page for them. So there's many factors. Digitalization is happening. There are people calling us saying that I'm very successful on online Amazon, and they want to share their success. Now people are reaching out to us from London. They're saying, look, I listened to your program. I'm interested. I want to share my skills. I made money. I've got 3 Amazon shops, and I will share that with other listeners. And we says, right, bring it on. Let's put you on a program and make a difference. So these are the kind of things happening. You know, in 1 month, we like doing 11 months' work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. To be fair, for what you can cram in, and for I think it's a great month of giving. So it's a month of you get to look inward from some value in our life where we want to give value back. And those are the sorts of individuals that I personally want to connect with over the course of my life, where I can either help them or cause that I invest to have a vested interest in there. If people want to get involved, feel free. If you have a social cause that you are strong and passionate about, contact somebody in that area. Contact us, contact Ramadan FM, contact anybody where you feel that you can add value to the life of somebody else. I think that's the best. We are happiest when we serve. We are happiest not when we're earning. I found that in jobs I've done in the past, commission was great, but it's when you help somebody, you find some words don't translate as well in different languages, but if you hear and if you understand like spoon, it's like you get peace.
So, Richard, earlier on you mentioned to me that your family are from Fiji.
Yes.
So, Fiji, South Pacific, Leicester.
I still wonder why they left the palm trees, the beaches,
Yeah,
and everything.
that's right. Leicester, and now me from Uganda,
Yep.
Leicester.
Yes.
So God's brought us here.
Exactly.
We're on a mission
Oh, that's right.
to be the change that we want to see in this world.
Yeah.
Right?
Because the change you are, I think Gandhi said it, be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly. That's
Solve
exactly
yourself.
where I got it from, Richard. You are a very challenging guest, and I like it. I like when I meet somebody who's very challenging, very knowledgeable. I learn from them, and it takes my positive energy to takes up.
Yeah.
And
It's applied. I think it's good that a lot of people read books as well, but it's applied knowledge. I've always been an advocate of following your dreams, you must have seen that dream, believe, achieve. But you don't dream, believe, achieve. You have to put in action. So it's dream, believe, put in action, and then achieve. Because everybody else has a dream, believe, achieve mentality, but it's not. It's beyond that. It's how do you best apply yourself and apply the knowledge you have. And I think knowledge applied to help others is best service.
so I always say to everybody in this month of Ramadan, your faith, please put that into action, like what Richard is saying, and that's what it's all about. By your good actions, people will be inspired and they'll follow.
There'll be a lot of listeners who either volunteer their time to charitable organisations. There are some who work with charitable organisations, but they know deep down that they get peace and comfort in knowing that they've done something where they've helped others. And that's the same with knowledge or action. Either you help impart some knowledge or wisdom and guidance to others, and you'll find comfort and peace in doing so because of the fact that you felt as though you've served somebody other than yourself. And that's the same whether it's with knowledge or action. Yeah, the more people you help, I think you'll find that the happier you are.
Absolutely. I hope all of you listening in right now, if you if you've missed the program, then you can catch up later on the YouTube. And we've had a great guest today, Richard.
It's been an honour and a privilege to be invited.
Yeah, Richard Narayan, who's representing here today the Rotary Club of Leicester. And we shall definitely be catching up another time, Richard. So if you'd like to say your last words, we got 26 seconds to go.
For all who are listening, I want to say stay strong, follow the 3Ds. For the end of Ramadan, I want to wish you Ramadan Mubarak in advance, and also thank you for listening and thank you for being here with us today.
Great. So we look forward to talking to you tomorrow. I shall be on at 10 o'clock tomorrow with another wonderful guest, and we'll take care of yourselves. Jazakallah.